One of the biggest challenges faced by singers is vocal strain. Have you ever experienced strain while singing? Now, why does this strain occur? We don't face much strain when we are talking, right? So why do we get strain only when we are singing? Now, when we speak, we don't use a very big vocal range, right? Even though I'm modulating my voice a little bit up and down, still I'm not going too high or too low in terms of my vocal frequency, right? I'm not going like ah when I talk. But while singing, we have to cover a much bigger vocal range. Our lower notes have to go really low, our upper notes have to go really high, and our voice should be ready for that. So in this course, I'm going to introduce you to a very important concept called vocal registers. We are going to talk about three main vocal registers, that is the chest voice, mixed voice and the head voice. Now let's say, for example, if I'm singing some low notes like now when I'm singing these notes, I feel a vibration in my chest cavity. So if you just keep one palm here and try to sing, you can feel a nice buzzing sensation over here. So that means that the vibration of your vocal cords is resonating in the chest cavity. But on the other hand, if I have to sing very high notes like now I don't feel a buzz here, I feel a buzz here, and that is why we call it the head voice. If you see, the type of sound itself is different, right? Earlier it was like but this is like so the nature of the sound itself has changed because it is resonating in a different place. And then coming to the middle notes, this will have a combination of chest voice and head voice. So for example, so this is neither completely the chest voice nor it is completely the head voice. It is somewhere in between. So this sound is also very different. So let me quickly sing all the three ranges for you so that you can just compare the sound. So the chest voice is something like then mixed voice, then head voice. So the first thing you have to realize is that for different ranges of notes, the technique that we use also changes. So you cannot use the same technique for your entire vocal range. I see many students making the mistake of using their speaking voice for all the notes. So in the low notes also they will sing like and in the high notes also they will use the same voice like Now when you sing like this, first of all it does not sound like singing, it sounds like you are shouting, right? Because you are forcing yourself to use your chest voice even in the upper notes. So it sounds like you are shouting, plus it is causing so much of strain and damage to your vocal cords. So please don't make the mistake of singing like this. First of all, embrace the concept of vocal registers. Okay, first you have to accept that you need to use three different registers: the chest voice, mixed voice and head voice. So now I'm going to tell you how to produce a sound in each of these registers. Let's start with the chest voice. As I told you earlier, the chest voice is the lower end of our vocal range. So if I am producing a sound like here I am using my chest voice. Now usually chest voice is not very difficult. Why? Because it usually lies in our normal speaking range itself, right? Most of us have the habit of speaking in a low pitch. We don't go too high. So we are normally speaking in our chest voice itself. So that is why we are more comfortable with the chest voice and we do not strain much when we sing the lower notes. But that's not the end of the story. Even though we are using the chest voice and even though it lies in our speaking range, there are many important things we have to keep in mind so that it sounds pleasant. Just because it is the speaking voice doesn't mean we use the same technique as speaking. While speaking, we are not controlling our voice much. We are just throwing our voice how much ever we can, right? But if we sing with the same technique, it will sound like absolutely no control. This doesn't sound like music. It sounds like I'm coming to beat up somebody, right? So if you want it to sound pleasant and melodious, you have to control your chest voice, control the volume and focus on the pitch. So you have to be more gentle on your throat. You should be very sensitive to the pressure that you're applying on the throat. Make sure you're not pushing it too much to produce the sound. Secondly, you have to make sure that your chest voice is bold and strong. Like it should not be weak and breathy, like so there should not be a lot of air coming out with your voice. You should hear more of the voice and less of the air, right? So it should sound like so that resonant sound has to come in your chest voice. And the third important point, especially when you're going to very low notes like sa ni da pa pa. When you're singing such low notes, you have to make sure you're not straining your throat. Some students sing it like this, sa ni da pa. So they kind of put so much of pressure on the throat and strain their voice a lot when they are singing that lower note. So you have to make sure even if the note is very low, it should still sound resonant, it should sound relaxed, it should sound bold. So pa. Now let's move to the other end of the spectrum, that is the head voice. What exactly is the head voice? What does it sound like? Head voice is the voice that we use when we yawn. So I want you to give me a quick fake yawn right now, like try to feel that sound. That is the head voice. Now imagine singing using that voice. Let's try to hold a note with the same kind of voice. So just inhale as if you're going to yawn, but instead of yawning, try to sing the note. Okay, so let's try. Were you able to do that? Let's try again. Now try going higher. So you see, with this technique, I'm able to reach very high notes without putting any pressure on my throat. I don't feel any strain in the throat at all. So it has just opened up a new range of notes for me, right? So the first thing you need to do is find your head voice, because head voice is not something we use while talking, right? Now when I'm speaking to you also, I'm not using I'm not going there at all, right? So it is a very unfamiliar territory for us. So it takes some time to get familiar with that voice. Initially when you try using your head voice, you may feel really weird about it. You may feel that this is a fake voice, this doesn't sound like me at all, I don't like this voice. But don't worry, it is very, very normal. Even I felt the same when I first started using my head voice. But eventually, when you keep using it, it will beautifully integrate into your natural voice and it will start sounding very, very normal. Some people wrongly guide the students by saying that you should never use your head voice. Head voice is a false voice. You should always sing with the full chest voice and all of that. Well, I don't agree. In fact, I feel that is a recipe for disaster, that is a recipe for vocal damage. If you want your voice to be safe in the long run, if you want to keep singing for many years to come, you definitely have to get comfortable with your head voice, right? Even if you're singing something like Carnatic music, the head voice is very, very relevant there as well. So I extensively use my head voice even with Carnatic music, but you have to learn how to adapt it to that style. So please don't feel guilty about using the head voice and use it with full confidence, and I'm sure eventually you will start getting so comfortable and overall your singing experience itself will become very, very effortless. You will not find yourself struggling with anything. Now once you get really comfortable with the chest voice and the head voice, then you can do a lot of experimentation to mix these two registers and create a mixed voice. So this is a very, very beautiful space to explore. There is no clear signs here saying that okay, after this note you can start using your head voice, or after this note you can start using your mixed voice. Nobody can say that. That depends on your voice type. It depends on what style of music you're going to sing, what kind of a tone you want to produce. So there are different aspects about it. But let us take our first steps now to strengthen these 3 registers. Let us do exercises where we are exploring the chest voice a lot. Let us do exercises where we are entering into the mixed voice. And then let us do exercises that we are going into the head voice. So individually, let us first explore these registers and try to feel the sensation in our body. Once we get used to the feeling of each register, then we can do a lot of exploration, a lot of mix and match. We can produce different tones depending on different songs. So there is no end to what you can achieve with your voice once you get a control over your vocal registers. So in this course, we are going to do plenty of exercises where we will explore each of these registers separately, very, very systematically. Okay, we cannot explore all the registers in one shot. That is a very bad idea. So we need to break it down, we need to separate it, and we need to work on each register gradually. So that is the approach we are going to follow. I'm sure you're going to really enjoy this experience, and it's going to give you a lot more awareness about your own voice. You will start observing many things which you have not observed before, and this will also help you in the next stage where you have to start blending these registers smoothly. So come join me in this exciting journey by subscribing to this course on the VoxGuru app. It is available both on Android and iOS. So let's kickstart this journey through the chest voice, mixed voice and head voice, and let's understand our voices much better. So I'll be waiting to see you in the next class. Take care.